Hi everybody, it's Miss Heather and Olivia here in Olivia's ballerina bedroom, ready to show you all how to do the perfect makeup for the stage. So we're so excited about our recitals coming up, and we want to make sure that you know what to do to make sure that your face shows up perfectly and beautifully on the stage with all those lights. Here we go. So the first thing I want to do is review our supplies with you. Now, I'm going to admit some of my makeup is a little bit old and really cheap because these are not colors that I necessarily use in my regular day-to-day makeup, where I might get something a little higher quality. So I recommend you go and get some really inexpensive things for this project that you're only going to use once a year, probably, for a recital. So we have a really nice white and then also a blue. I like this blue right here. And actually, this is something that I got for $1.88 at Family Dollar probably 5 years ago. Then I've got a couple browns that I'm going to show you. This is like a nice chocolate brown, and this is a little bit deeper brown over here. And then, of course, we have our blush, which is a nice deep color rouge. We've got some black eyeliner, some mascara, some eyebrow pencil, and also some powder that we're going to use to make sure we get everything staying on her face. I also have a couple makeup brushes. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And our lipstick, that's right. Thank you, Olivia. She reminded me, we've got our red lipstick. I'll show you. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna start with, I really do recommend using like a primer or a good moisturizer before you begin, so that your makeup stays. Now, if you're a more advanced dancer or a little bit more mature dancer, use foundation. It really does help to get all of your makeup to stick. With Olivia, I like to use a primer, and then her makeup sticks pretty well. When we're a little bit older and we're sweating more, the foundation really does help, and it also helps to even out our skin tone when we're older and maybe have some different things going on that this tiny little 5-year-old face doesn't have. So we're gonna get all this powder going on. Okay, from here, the first thing I like to do is our eyes. So I'm going to start with our white eyeshadow. And here's how we're gonna do this. I use my white eyeshadow, and we're gonna put it all the way over her eye from the top of her eyeshadow, or excuse me, the top of her eyebrow, like right up there under her eyebrow, all the way all over her lid, cover her entire lid, all the way down to her eyelashes. Okay, we're gonna make sure that that's all over the place. So the idea with stage makeup, and really actually for regular makeup too, is we wanna highlight the high points and then contour the low points, shadow those low points. So we're gonna get some eyeshadow here on this side too. This is the white that I start with. And if you really want it to show up more, I'll tell you a trick is to get your sponge a little bit wet, and it'll go on a little bit more, a little thicker. Okay, so now we've got the white all over her eye. Now with my little ones, any students in the Spring Sparkle Showcase, I like to use a blue eyeshadow for them. And I'll tell you why, not just because I love the 1980s, but because it really does help to contour and brighten their eye. And I'll be honest, even I use a little bit of blue eyeshadow with my brown eyeshadow when I perform on stage. So I'm gonna use this kind of brighter, darker color here. I'm just gonna get a little bit, and Olivia's gonna close her eye. And what I'm wanting to do is to find the crease of her eye. So just right in here, you can see like when I touch, how that's the crease of her eye. Open your eye, Olivia. So that's where our eyeshadow is gonna go, right along here. And just kind of draw it right in here, right in the crease. I'm gonna bring it out to the corner a bit and then kind of bring it back in, so it kind of makes like a little check mark, like this. Go ahead and open. There we go, there we go. Now the idea is for the stage, you want pretty dark makeup. I'm gonna darken this a little bit more. This way, Olivia? Okay. And then the brush just helps me to blend it. I don't love to use an applicator for the color part. The brush, I feel like I have a little bit more control. Okay, and then we're gonna do the other side also. So now we're gonna do this side over here. So you see I'm going right in the crease of her eye. And I'll tell you one way that I find is a good trick for this if you have little ones. Instead of a stool like this, I put them on a chair backwards. So the back of the chair is here, and then they can rest their little chin right there on the back of the chair. And that really sometimes can help keep the wiggles at bay. Okay, Olivia, let's see. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Now we've got our blue eyeshadow on. Next, we're going to add some black eyeliner. So the black eyeliner, I actually really like to use these. There's a couple I like to use. I like to use this kind that you can see is like, they call it like a crayon style, where you roll it up and roll it down, because they usually go on really smoothly, right? So then I don't have to tug at her eye, and it's not hard for her. The other kind I like to use if you're feeling brave is liquid like this, because also it just goes on really smoothly. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show you my trick for doing that. Okay, so I'm going to rest my pinky right here on her cheekbone, and that's what helps me to keep my hand steady. And then instead of pulling her eye outward to get the eyeliner on, I'm actually going to lift up from the eyebrow, and that kind of gives me a little more space from the eyelashes so that I can get it really close to the eyelash. So here I go. I'm going to just touch. Try not to blink. There we go. And I'm going to draw it out. That's right. Good. And a little bit more out to the edge. We want to do just a little bit of an extension. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Very good. Close for me. I'm going to blow it dry. Good. I'm going to touch again just to get this nice and straight. There we go. Good. Okay, open and let's look. Oh, look at how much that opens her eye. Look at it compared to the other one. Olivia, will you look at the camera? Yeah, see how much that opens her eye and frames her eye out so we can really see her eye. So pretty. Okay, let's do the other one. Okay, here we go with the other one. So again, I'm going to rest my pinky. Now I like to have her almost like in front of me. So when I'm right-handed. So when I have to do her right eye, I like to turn her pretty far away from me. And then that way I'm kind of going this way instead of feeling like I have to go backwards like this. Okay, here we go. Let's see if it matches. Oh yeah, pretty good. Nice. Now her eyes are both lined. Now for the little ones, you may not want to line underneath. It's a little trickier to do that. I'll show you real quick. Olivia, go ahead. I'm going to use this one. I'm not going to use the liquid eyeliner for underneath. I'm going to use the crayon one. So she's going to look up, and I'm just going to do a tiny, tiny bit underneath just to bring it out like that. And then, right. Okay, let me do this side. Ready? Now, if you can't get this eyeliner underneath for your little one, that is okay. If you can't get any eyeliner on for your little one, like I'm talking pre-ballet and apprentice, that is okay. If you can get mascara on them, it will help to frame out their eyes. So if you must skip the eyeliner, I get it. Maybe practice with them, and over time they'll get used to it. Okay, so then we have to do our mascara. Ready, Olivia? So here's how I teach Olivia to do mascara. I tell her to look at my shoulder. So see, that brings her eyelashes down a little bit. And so I'm gonna go bring them down a little bit more. Look, yeah, there we go. And so I'm going on top first because we likely have some white eyeshadow on top of her lashes. We wanna make sure we get that. And then I'm going underneath. And if she keeps looking downward with just like a soft eye down, then I can go up underneath it. I wiggle my brush from as close to the root as I can to the ends. And you know, it might be a little different than when you put it on yourself. Be a little bit less, you know, worried about getting to the root. And then we're gonna do the other side. And again, so I'm gonna turn and look at the camera. There we go. I'm gonna turn her away from me so that it's almost like I'm doing my own eye with my hand in front of her. Again, so that I don't have to do something funky with my wrist. Beautiful. You see how much her eyes are waking up. That's it. Okay, so next we're gonna do our eyebrows. We need some eyebrows. If you look here, you can see that we need a little framing for her eyes. So I'm gonna use my eyebrow pencil. Since Olivia is blonde, I have a brown pencil. With mine, I actually use a much darker color. This one is one that I like to use. Let's see, here it is. It's like a really fine pencil. And then I actually use the Anastasia, I think they call it Anastasia gel, and I use a brush to put mine on. So mine's like a chocolate brown. Olivia needs a lighter brown. So, and she doesn't need too much work with hers. So I'm gonna start kind of in the middle, and I'm gonna go ahead and close your eyes, Olivia. You wanna go against the hair, against the grain of the hair, and just sort of fill it in and darken it as we go. Oh, she's got a little yawn, there we go. Then I come out to the edge and I kind of draw it out so it's kind of thinner on the edge. Okay, and then I'm gonna use my little eyebrow brush, and I'm gonna brush it to just sort of soften it a bit. And we do wanna have darker features than you would for, we call it, in the dance world, we refer to it as street makeup or stage makeup. So street makeup is the way you would look when you're face to face with someone. Stage makeup, you always wanna have darker and a little bit firmer lines around everything so that it really shows up on stage through the light. Okay, so let's look at the difference between Olivia with one eyebrow on and this eyebrow off. Good, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill in this other eyebrow. You'll see it really does make a difference with opening her eye. All right, here we go, Olivia. So I'm going against the grain. Okay, so for our blush, also we want to use something a little bit darker, and we want to go with the apples of their cheek and then up towards their temple. So I'm going to use this darker blush here, and we're going to start at her apples of her cheek and then draw it outward. And that's going to give her some nice rosy cheeks on stage. There we go. And then again, I'm going to turn her a little bit and smile. There we go. Starting at the apples, and then we're going to go out towards her temple or ear. And again, you want it a lot heavier than you would do regularly. Okay, let's see how it looks. Beautiful. Okay, so the idea here is we're contouring and giving her a cheekbone that, you know, she wouldn't have. She'd be all washed out, especially with her fair complexion on the stage. Okay, the last thing we need to do is our lipstick. Now, we really like this MAC color. This is called Ruby Woo. And this is, I got this at Ulta, and this is the sample size. So it's like half the price. I think it's like $12 or $13. We love this color for our company dancers, so we use this often. I'm also gonna show you, personally, I prefer to use with little ones, a lipstick that has an applicator like this, because it's a little bit easier to apply to them. If you do use that, you could also use, like if you do use a lipstick, you could also use a lipstick brush, or even a Q-tip sometimes works. We're gonna use this. So first I want you to just sort of blot, there you go. I think I have a tissue. Here we go. We're gonna blot your lips, just make sure they're dry. And then she's gonna give me a smile. That's right.
I don't think they're dry yet.
You don't think they're dry? I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna just sort of pull down a little bit, keep your smile. And now I have a little bit of control. And it is a little tricky. Again, I'm using my pinky to hold my hand steady, and that way I can paint the lip. And I do recommend getting a color stay lipstick, and I also recommend waiting to put the lipstick on until they're at the theater and dressed. Smile, because this red lipstick can get on everything, especially a costume or you know, whatever clothes or whatever drink you're drinking out of, that kind of thing. Oops, I just got some on your teeth. Okay. Pop your lips. Good girl. Okay, let's see. Let me take a look. Look at the camera. She's got a mirror over here, so she's into that. Now I want you to use your tongue and go over your teeth, because I got some on your teeth. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now here's one other trick. If you get it on your teeth like Miss Heather does, stick your finger in your lips and pull it out like that. Kiss your lip, kiss your finger, and pull it. There you go. And that gets some of that lipstick out from where your teeth are. Let's turn this way. Let's see your smile. So beautiful. So there's our stage makeup. I love it. So I'm gonna add a couple more things real quick before we go, and that is, if you are an older dancer, you really follow the same steps. The difference is I would suggest using some brown eyeshadow. So I have here like a really nice chocolate brown, and then I have this sort of charcoaly brown. So all you would do is follow the same steps with the eyeshadow, and instead of blue, we'll have brown, so close. And you just go over the same kind of space here with the brown. And then it gives you just a little bit of a deeper eye. Let's open Olivia, there we go. So you can see there's still blue there, and it kind of brightens, and that's kind of why I like to use some blue or some purple with my brown. But for my older girls, everybody who's in the spring concert that will be performing at the Florida Theater, you all get to use brown eyeshadow. So that's fun. Just make sure that it's not like a coppery color. You want to make sure it's like a nice chocolate brown, okay? So I'll show you here. So for instance, with this palette, this color is not the one we want to use. We want to use this color, the nice chocolate one, okay? And if you look at Olivia, we've got her lovely features standing out. Another thing you might want to do sometimes, if you get your eyeshadow maybe too high up, you might want to go back in with the white and just go under the eyebrow and just bring that out a little bit, just to make sure that you've got that highlight, because we don't want the color to go up to your eyebrow. The other thing I like to do is give a little highlighter and come in between the eyes and give you a little bit of white. And then sometimes we like to do some highlighter even over the cheekbones here. You can just apply that and then just kind of brush it in. And again, it just helps to give a little more feature to her face, because we want the dimension to show up, right? We want the high points to pop out a little bit and the low points to have more contour. So there we go. There's our beautiful ballerina ready for the stage. Do you feel beautiful, Olivia? Do you feel fancy? You're always beautiful, even without makeup, but you look a little fancy,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah. Okay, smile at the camera so we get one more look. So pretty. Open your eyes nice and wide. I love it. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.